Interesting. Curious, isn't it, guys, that a Ready Player 2 movie gets announced 2 months after the book's released? I'm going to be a little bit braver in this video than I was in my book review, and I'm going to flat out say that I don't think Ready Player 2 was Ernest Cline's idea. Obviously, I have no evidence for this, and it's all speculation on my end, but it just feels like what all these pieces are when put together, what it feels like. So I was watching another YouTube review channel about Ready Player 2, and he said that this book feels like it was a screenplay adapted into a novel. And as soon as he said that, it was like a light bulb clicked, the last piece of the puzzle fell into place. That is exactly what Ready Player 2 feels like. It feels like it was a screenplay that was written for a movie and then handed off to Ernest Cline and said, do you think you can make a novel out of this? And it makes sense when you read the book and in retrospect. You can tell which scenes might be great movie scenes, which ones would be good montage clips, which ones would be the big great battle scenes, which ones would be great for shock value. I'm going to read something in the acknowledgments that had me suspicious from the beginning, but I didn't want to be too accusatory in my book review. So this is the acknowledgments at the end of the book. It says, I am especially grateful to Steven Spielberg for giving me his feedback on this story and for his encouragement while I was writing it. I also want to thank him for his kindness and generosity, which are both somehow just as boundless as his enthusiasm and creativity. And when I read that after I read the book for the first time, it had me wondering, why would Ernest Cline who is perfectly capable of writing an amazing novel and story all on his own, as he proved with Ready Player One, why would he be asking advice, getting advice from Steven Spielberg, the movie director, if a movie wasn't already in talks or discussed first? That was what got me suspicious from the very beginning. And I think that line solidifies the fact that that this was a movie first, or like the movie was brought up first and then offered to, Ernest Cline. A couple more reasons. Typically, I don't know how the whole like Hollywood, adapting a novel into a movie thing works, but typically, if a book comes out, it's just from experience. It seems like a couple years later, the movie would come out. Maybe a couple years later, the movie's announced, and then a year after that, the movie is finally released. But 2 months, that almost like solidifies the fact that they already had a movie in mind when this book was released. I said this in my book review. Typically, it's not always the case, but it feels like if you wrote a sequel 9 years after the original one came out, you probably never intended to write one in the first place. Ready Player One wrapped up very satisfyingly. It didn't leave any cliffhangers. It didn't leave me wanting more in the sense of the story wasn't complete. It leaves you with a sense of wanting more because the world is so great that it's one of those types of books that you could read over and over again and not get bored. But I don't really feel like Ready Player 2 was a story that needed to be told. And if it wasn't Ernest Cline's idea, again, all speculation on my end, if it wasn't Ernest Cline's idea, then that's probably why the book resulted in becoming such an average novel. Because if it was someone else's ideas being, thrown out there and then handed to Ernest, if he wanted to write a sequel, let him write it. Who cares if it's like 20 or 30 years later? He's perfectly capable of writing an amazing novel on his own, as he's proven to us. And I wanted a movie. I said in my review that I wanted a movie, and I was hoping that the movie would have been better than the novel. The same way that they could have changed things around from Ready Player One into the movie. Maybe they, I thought I gave the novel a 3 out of 5. Ready Player 2, I gave a 3 out of 5. And I was hoping that the movie would have been better than the book when it was inevitably going to be made. But 2 months, an announcement 2 months later after the book is released, I honestly think that it was a movie idea first, and then it was brought up to Ernest Cline. Can you make this into a novel? So let me know what you guys think. Do you want a movie? What did you think of the book? Was it average? Was it above average? Did it need to be told? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next book review video. See you later.